Good morning, Vivites. So I'm glad that today again, another webinar session, I'm able to meet all of you and speak to you and share my experience with you. So I hope the week has started very well on a Monday morning and week number 179. And then today the topic which we are going to discuss in this webinar is going to be one of the most important topics as far as your business is concerned. Because I believe if you are a player in a football team, that's wonderful. But along with being a player, the most important part of a football team is to score, and the scoring happens. That's when your possibility of winning also is very very high. So in the similar manner, in business, it definitely is very important that you are in Viva business. But along with that, if you're a good scorer, that's when your progress also is going to start, and along with that even your team members also are going to progress. So what is that scoring part? That's what we call it as the sales closing. So today the topic we are going to discuss in this webinar is going to be about sales closing, which is one of the most important skill which you need to pick up as an entrepreneur, especially being with Industry Viva. So sales closing is the most important thing which can help you to raise your pin levels, increase your income, increase the momentum of your business, increase the momentum of the people in your team, everything. So sales closing, let me tell you, first of all, many people say that sales closing, it's not important and it will happen automatically. So I don't believe in that, because sales closing is something that which consciously we need to involve in the sales closing process. And let me tell you, sales closing is not just an incident, it is actually a process. If you ask me how this sales closing happens, definitely it is a person looking at your business. You go and speak to your friend, or you show them a business plan in a seminar and in a VOP, Viva Orientation Program, or over a cup of coffee in a coffee day or anywhere, and after that you need to meet that person and do the sales closing, and that part is going to definitely add value to all the other things you did prior to the sales closing. Let me say, the sales closing is a process which begins much before even you show the plan to the prospect, or even you can call your the potential customers. Okay, so the sales closing process begins way before the actual plan is being shared with the guest or the prospect. So initially you create a curiosity to the person that you're going to share something very important, and that's the beginning of the sales closing, which is going to happen later once the plan is shown. So there are few points which you need to keep in your mind as far as the sales closing is concerned. The first thing is, people always look at you first, and later they look at whatever you want to tell them or offer them, and they think about buying that. So people buy your ideas and your product and whatever you're going to sell them later, but before that they're going to look at you. So my suggestion is, in Viva we've got 4 prominent products right now, which is doing very extremely well: the iPulse, the iCoffee, the iSlim, and also we've got the iCharge. So all these products are amazing, but when people ask me, sir, which is the best product of Industry Viva, I always tell them, in all these products, the first letter which comes up is what is going to talk about the most important product of this business, that is I. When I say I, it's you, the person who's actually the product of the product, who's carrying the product. Okay, so when you go and meet somebody for a sales closing, let me tell you, first thing is, be cool, calm and composed. Don't be overexcited, don't be under tension or kind of a pressure. Be calm. Okay, if you are calm, definitely you will be able to handle the sales closing process in a much easier manner. So the first thing is, when you talk to somebody about the business, you offer them, let's say you offer them a product, or you offer them the business opportunity, whatever it is, the sales closing must happen within 24 to 48 hours from the moment the proposal is given to the prospect. So that is, let's say I've given a plan today, from today at 10 a.m. Okay, I've shown the plan. So within next 24 hours or 48 hours, you need to ensure that the follow through happens, because sales closing is a process which is the end process. So previous to that is the objection handling, previous to that is the follow through process. So the follow through must happen within 24 or 48 hours from the moment the business or the product is being explained to the customer or the guests or the prospects. Okay, and then the other suggestion is when you go and meet them within 24 hours or 48 hours, be calm and cool and composed, and be presentable, because it's you. People are going to look at you, and let me tell you, the moment they like you, I bet you they're going to like whatever you're going to give them, whatever you're going to offer them. It might be the product or it might be the business opportunity. First, they should like you. So definitely the basic things first. Don't forget the basics. Dress up well, show up very well in front of them, be presentable, and also ensure that you carry a very good smile, because I always believe that people should have a wonderful smile on their face, and the smile is a language which you can communicate to the person whom you're going to meet that you are happy. First thing is you're very happy doing this business. So whatever problems you have, whatever issues you have, ensure that your personal problems should not come in your professional life. So when you go and meet somebody, even though you had a bad day the previous day or you didn't have a good sleep the last night, whatever it is, first thing is ensure that when you go and meet the guest, you carry tons of energy, because it is you who's going to represent the business or the product overall to the guest or to the customer. So when you go, definitely carry a smile, because I believe smile is going to be your logo, and I believe you're a brand, and as a brand your smile is going to be your logo, which people will definitely look at the first thing when they meet you. So have a grand smile, and definitely let it be a very confident smile on your face, and that communicates to the person who's sitting next to you that you are very much composed, you're very much ready to go and give whatever you're going to offer them. So first thing is do the follow-up within 24 to 48 hours, the first thing, step number one. And then you go to the next step, that is you definitely carry yourself well. Okay, as I told you, be presentable, present yourself well with a good smile, and then very, very important is, if possible, because you're already, when you enroll yourself in Industry Viva, you've got a sponsor, and the sponsor has got a sponsor, and the sponsor has got a sponsor. That's what we call as the LOS, line of sponsors, which means that anybody coming into Industry Viva, they are a part of a team. Remember this, you are not an individual who's going to go and do all the work by yourself. If you do that, definitely you're going to be an individual player. And let me tell you, last week we had a discussion that how you move from an individual to a team. So that begins right from the first step, the word go. You need to ensure that you are going as a team when you go for a follow-up. At least take one of your upline or one of your sponsor with you, or one of your uplines, whoever is available, whoever is able to mentor you in the field, take them along with you. So what happens is when you go there is a saying that majority wins. The guest, the prospect is there waiting to meet you, and when you go, two of you, both of you go together, you are as a team. So that helps you, to have a upper hand in terms of, doing the sales closing process. So go as a team, and definitely the third point is, most people, the mistakes what they do in this business is, they have an amazing list of people, they select the right people, they invite them to the, one-to-one presentation or to the seminars, everything is done amazingly, but when it comes to follow-up, they try to use the wrong methods, which will ensure that all your efforts are going to go down the drain. So don't let your efforts go in vain. Ensure that you go as a team, and most importantly, the key point here to be noted is you must meet the guest within 24 or 48 hours in person. Underline that word, because when you go in person, you communicate a lot of powerful messages to the customer or to the guest when you go in person. For example, let's say I had a friend, Mr. John. I've shown him the plan on Sunday evening. I've discussed with him about the business plan or the product, whatever it is. And John says, yes, Prem, it's a wonderful business. Let's, think about it. Okay. So you've shown him the plan. He's very excited. And within 24 hours, you need to meet him, because they say strike while the iron is hot. Strike while the iron is hot. That's when you can definitely bring the iron into the right shape. So strike while the iron is hot. So within 24 hours or 48 hours, you're going to meet the person physically, in person. You're going to meet him. And as I told you, don't go alone. If possible, take one of your uplines with you. So when you go and meet the person, in person. For example, Sunday, my friend has seen the plan Sunday morning or Sunday evening. Monday morning, I'm sure that John, I know very well because I've done the homework. I know that John is going to go for a morning walk at 6. in the park which is very close to his house. So you should be able to meet John, if possible, as a surprise in his park. When he is going to enter the park, you should be waiting there telling John, good morning, I thought to start the day with you. So that will trigger a lot of powerful messages to the prospect or to the guest, because he first of all never expected you to be there, and you have in person taken your time off and you have gone to the park and you meet him there and you greet him there and you tell, okay John, let's start the day together. This really again hits very hard, and conveys the message to the person that you are very, very serious in this business. And I would say that is one of the best way to communicate to your guest or to the prospect that you are very serious in Viva business. That is what is my personal suggestion also would be. So communicate this message by being in person with that person, meeting that person in person. And then the third important point is, when you go to meet your guest, usually you should carry some tools with you. So what are the tools you can carry? Definitely, if possible, I would always strongly recommend you to carry the Viva products with you, because when you carry the products with you, when you have the products physically with you, definitely it's gonna help you to show the product if needed to the person. And when they look at the product, definitely they are very attractive, and the human mentality is when they look at a wonderful product, anybody would be pushed internally to buy the product. So always carry the product with you. If you're doing a retail or if you're doing a complete a business opportunity, selling, whatever it is, whatever you're selling, ensure that you carry the product with you. The product should be physically available with you. Along with that, you also carry the other tools. What are the other tools which you can carry? Because I believe even though you are a very powerful person, you're a very powerful warrior, if your tools are not with you, definitely you wouldn't be able to fight in the war field. Right? You might be a very powerful warrior, well trained, but if you don't have your sword, you don't have your shield, you don't have your spear, definitely in the war field you're not able to perform at your best. So I always believe, as a person involved in the selling business, as a part of sales, you should always carry enough tools with you, because the tools will do the work. You just need to have it with you. First thing is you carry the products with you. Apart from that, the second most important tool, which I believe many people don't agree with this, or they may think it's not that important, but I tell you it's one of the most important tool which you can carry, the book of names. In your Viva diary, you should ensure that you have written your 150 people's names, because when you come into the business as an individual, you are going to expand your business. You're going to recruit a lot of people, you're going to sell the product to some people and then tell them about the business. Whatever it is, you need people. So your network is your net worth. That's what people say, and that's a different topic. We'll talk about that in another webinar about how to increase your list and all the other things. But then definitely when you go for the sales closing, I'm going to meet John in the morning. I have the book with me which has got 150 people's name in it. And guess what happens? When I'm talking to John, I'm going to tell John, Viva has been an amazing opportunity for me, because I have seen that this is going to be the solution for most of my challenges, what I've been facing in different ways. So when you have the book of 150 people's name written, the list of 150 people in the book, and when you show it, when you scroll it and when you just show it to John, look John, this is what I've got. And you need to make a very important point when you show the book of names to your prospect, especially if you want to sell at in a very faster manner. You want to sign up to it, and at the fastest way, the best way is you tell to John, I have a list of more than 150 people with me, and I discussed with my sponsor, and we together, this is the word you need to know, this is the statement you need to make. We together found that you are one among the best people in my list. So this is definitely going to build up the confidence of the person whom you're going to meet. So the first thing, as I told you, meet the person physically, in person, meet in person. Second thing is carry enough tools. One of the most important tool is your book of names. I tell you, if you have the book of names, 90% I can assure you that definitely the sale is going to definitely come. It's going to happen. So show the book of names. Along with that, also carry enough brochures. Let's say sometimes people might ask you about a particular product. They want the brochures, the literature of iPulse or iCoffee or iSlim or whatever the product is. Carry all the products, brochures, whatever you have, the materials. Along with that, also carry if you have received any incentive. I'm damn sure that anybody who signs up in Indus Viva receives the first incentive in the first week itself. So the first incentive, it might be a small income of say 5,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees or whatever it is. A minimum would be 2,000 as far as I know, or it might be 4,000 rupees if you've started with 200 PV. So the retail profit, what you get, the incentive, that should be there with you when you go. And that if you can file it very beautifully, let's say people who have completed 10 weeks in Indus Viva, 20 weeks in Indus Viva, I'm telling you once again, ensure that all your incomes, whatever you have earned so far, if you have filed it in a beautiful way in a folder, keep all the sheets, all the incentive reports of the past 10 weeks or the 5 weeks or the beginners, even the first week incentive will definitely make a difference. That becomes a very powerful tool, and you can talk to them, because see, it's like this: you're going and meeting a person, whatever queries this person has got. Definitely we're going to come to the objection handling part, but before that, let me tell you, before the objection itself, you will be able to get the sales, because when you show something practically which is happening with you, you are conveying a very powerful message to the prospect. You're telling him that, look, I have already started the business, and not only the business, I also started earning. So this creates a feeling in the guest that if I don't take the decision, definitely I'm going to miss out on a lot of things. So I would definitely once again recommend all of you, even the people who have completed 20 weeks, 30 weeks, ensure that you have your incentive reports filed beautifully in a folder, and you carry that. And let your guest, the prospect, look at that, because there is a clear, explanation about how much incentive you have received, what is the date, and what is your address, your PAN card, and how much of volume is produced, everything. So this gives a wonderful opening, for you to even initiate the discussion about the sales closing, right? So carrying the products is very important. Carry the incentive reports as a folder. And then let me also tell you one more thing. Before you ask for the money, because that's the final thing, like you are going to ask for the money, I'll talk to you about asking the money. There is a kind of a process in between, right? So you, if you look at the entire sales closing process, it is, if you go back reverse, it starts from the day you started writing the list of 150 people. So you have listed out somebody, you have shortlisted, you have invited that person, you have prospected that person, you have shown the plan, you have shared the business plan or the product, whatever it is. After that, you're going to go for the follow through within 24 or 48 hours, and you go in person. And when you go in person, you're carrying enough tools, especially your smile, which is your logo. Along with that, when you carry your incentive reports and everything, after that happens the sales closing. So this is a big process. It's a huge process. Sales closing is the end result probably, but then it doesn't happen in one process or in one incident. It's a part of a huge number of process. It's a part of the process. So before the sales closing, what happens when you go for the follow-up? Before the sales closing, there is a part which is called as the objection handling. Usually what happens, objection handling is going to be like the most I would say the key element of the entire process of sales closing. So objection handling, how does it happen? Let me tell you. When you go and when you're having the interaction with John or whatever, your guest, okay, so there is going to be a lot of objections which might come up. Some people might say, I'm not interested, I don't have time, I don't have money, and lots of objections. So when the objections are coming, don't worry. Let me tell you, anybody who is very much interested in associating with you will definitely, most of the time, have objections. So when you look at an objection, what happens? A loser looks at an objection as a failing, as a failure or a failing process. A winner looks at the objection as a stepping stone. That's the difference. So when somebody is there sitting in front of you and is having some objections, first thing is, do not lose your energy, do not lose your charm, and do not lose your confidence. Be confident, but definitely don't be arrogant. There is a slight difference between arrogance and confidence. Okay, so be confident. Whatever the objections are there, the first thing is you're not alone. You are a part of a team. So definitely there is somebody who's going to back you. Even if there is an objection when it is coming, when it is a part of the sales closing, don't get disturbed, don't get distracted. Let your focus be completely on, getting the sales closing done. So what happens when there is an objection? How do you handle the objection? Most people say, sir, I'm very strong, I'm very confident, but when the guest, when he starts asking the questions, I am unable to, answer that, and the objections really put me down. So let me tell you, don't be, disturbed or distracted because of the objections. Objections are definitely the most important part of the sales closing, and objections will take you closer to the sales. So keep this in your mind. When you find an objection, you got a signal that yes, the sales closing is going to happen very soon. But there is a challenge for you. Once you complete the challenge, once you overcome the challenge, the sales is definitely going to come. So objection handling has got 4 steps. So if you follow these 4 steps, which is practiced, in most of the sales teams across the world, the sales force in big companies, big corporations, this is being taught. And definitely this, I have practiced this, and I've also talked to hundreds of people, and this has definitely helped them to handle the objection in the most, easiest manner. So objection handling has got 4 steps. The first thing is, whatever the objection is from the opposite person, the person sitting in front of you, ensure that you listen. You listen, because listening to the objection is something which most people are not able to do it. So when you listen to the objection, let me tell you, the person sitting in front of you, whatever is, objection is, once you listen to the objection, the person is completely calmed down. You are able to satisfy the ego of the person sitting in front of you. First thing is listen. If you want, you can write down these 4 steps. First step is step number 1, listen. Okay, once you listen to the objection, what is the second part? And second thing is, don't act as if you're listening. You must genuinely listen to the objection. There are some people, okay, they have the phone and they say, okay, sir, please tell me what are your objection, and you are in your WhatsApp. And definitely it conveys a message that you are not listening to that person. So ensure that your phone is not going to disturb you. It's not going to come in between you and your sales closing process. So talk to the person, look at him, eye to eye contact, look at him, and with a lot of courage, a lot of humbleness, ask him. And when that person is talking about the objection, listen to him. Humbly you listen to the objection. When you listen, 90% of the person's whatever the energy is, it's calmed down. The opposition is, surprised. So first thing is listen. The second step, once you listen to the objection, what do you do next? You repeat, or I would say, repeat is a very simple, easy way to tell you, but I would say acknowledge it. Okay, you say, okay, Mr. Naveen, okay, you have this objection. Okay, whatever the person has told you. Let's say he says, see, I work in a bank, I have very less time, I am unable to give time for your business, or unable to spend time for building this business. That's the objection. Okay, first thing is you listen to him. Okay, after you listen, you look at that person and tell him, okay, Naveen, this is your objection, and you repeat the complete objection, whatever was told to you, in the exact manner. Okay, you work in a bank, you work 9 to 6, and after that you got time to, got very less time, you need to travel 1 hour, and after you reach home. Okay, so this is your actual, challenge, or you can say the objection or the question. So when you listen to the person, first thing is he's calmed down. Second thing, when you repeat it, he is 100%, ready to listen to you. He feels happy basically. Let me tell you, when you convey the message that you care for him, you listen to that person, the person is already accepting you. And as I told you in the beginning, when he is accepting you, when he starts liking you, he starts liking whatever you sell him, whatever you offer him. It might be the business or it might be the product. Okay, so first step number 1 in handling the objection is listen. The second step is repeat, acknowledge whatever he has told, repeat and tell him the same thing back. Okay, and the third step, it is like, when you look at a burger, what is there in the middle? The stuffing. It's like this, the third step. It's called as the feel, felt, found technique. You can just write it down if you're noting down, otherwise just listen to this. Feel, felt, found technique. What is this feel, felt, found technique? This is an amazing technique of conveying the message to the person sitting in front of you without hurting his ego, because egos are fragile. So you should ensure that you don't hurt the person, but at the same time, you must be confidently able to convey the message, whatever you want to convey, and solve the objection. So the first step is listen. Second one is repeat whatever is being told, whatever you heard. The third one is the feel, felt, found technique. In this technique, you are going to ensure that the entire objection is clarified. How do you do that? Okay, it's a simple technique of ensuring that you put yourself in the person's place. Instead of telling Mr. Naveen or Mr. John or whoever it is, Mr. So and so, this is not this way, this is the other way. Instead of telling him directly, you use this technique called as the feel, felt, found technique. Okay, John, listen, let me tell you something interesting. After listening to you, I wanted to share this information with you. See, when I started the business, you put yourself, feel, felt, found. So the entire concept is, Mr. So and so, whatever you're feeling right now is what I felt when I also saw the business plan. You're getting the point? Whatever you're feeling right now, that's what I too felt in the beginning. And there's the third word, feel, felt. The third word is found. And that's what you say, when I started the business, whatever you're feeling right now, that's what I felt, and later I found something else. So it is like this. This is what you are feeling right now, but when I started, I also felt the same thing. Feel, felt, and I found something else. So I speak in this way. Okay, John, listen, you're working in a bank. Even you know that I'm also working in another company similar to yours. So I'm also doing very much part-time. So when I started the business, the objection what I had was the same thing, what you're having right now. I explained to my sponsor that I don't have time. And beautifully, my sponsor gave me an eye-opening answer, which definitely helped me to take a decision. So what my sponsor told me, look at this, Prem, you are right now working somewhere. You don't have to be a full-timer to do this business. I was really inspired with that, because I thought I need to give my complete time to this and I wouldn't be able to do my other work. So first thing is, he told me I can do it very much part-time. So it doesn't mean that you don't have to, give your time. You can give your time part-time, and there is no fixed time to work in IndusViva. The second part, what he assured me, which gave me a lot of tons of confidence, is my sponsor. He said, Prem, you don't have to be a full-timer. Second thing is, he said, you are not an individual, you are a part of a team. So when you are away from your business, the uplines, your team members, this LOs, the people who are your uplines, because you are a part of a team when you come into IndusViva, the team will, fill the gap. So which was saying like, wonderful, wow, even if I'm working in my company 9 to 6, my work in my absence is taken care by my team. I said, this is what exactly I was looking for. So that is when I decided I should associate with IndusViva. So now what have you done? You have told you conveyed the message to your prospect that feel, felt, found. John, whatever you're feeling right now, that's what I felt when I saw the business plan. But when I discussed with my sponsor, this is what I found. The feel, felt, found technique. My dear friends, this will definitely work in a miraculous way to generate huge sales for you and your entire team members. So the first step, let me repeat you once again, objection handling steps, 4 steps. Listen, first thing. Second one, repeat. The third one is the feel, felt, found technique. The fourth part of the entire objection handling is confirm that the doubt is clarified. Because once you clarify these things, after the feel, felt, found, you say, okay, this is what I felt. So because when you have cleared the objection, you're very close to the sale, and that's when you can ask for a sale. And I think today's webinar, whatever we have discussed, the sales closing, as a process, the follow through and reaching the sales closing from, the beginning of follow through, how you go closer to your sale is something very important. And before I wind up the session, I just want to tell you the final, part of the sales closing process. Ensure that you ask for the sign up. always ask for the sign up, because most people do not come from a business background, do not belong to an entrepreneur category, so they come from an employee category or from different backgrounds. So what happens, they have a kind of a shyness, I would say, or they are not very bold, courageous to ask for the sale. And middle class people, most of the time, they believe that taking money from others is something, it's an offense. But let me tell you, you're not taking somebody else's money, you're not going to take somebody else's money and go away. You are here to help somebody to grow in their life through Indus Viva, and you are helping somebody. So when you go with an helping nature, instead of grabbing, you're going with a giving attitude. Okay, so when somebody is giving you the money, it's not that you are going to take that money, it's the sales closing what you're doing, and that should be very clear in your mind. So don't hesitate to ask money. Be an entrepreneur, get this skill very clear, straight, ask for sign up. Always ask for sign up. And let me tell you, when you ask for the sign up, it is that the people are always programmed. When you ask for something, they definitely give you. So always ask for the sales closing, ask for the sign up. Always ask for the sign up, and that brings to the end of the sales closing process. So wishing all of you a week filled with a lot of sales. Use these techniques and ensure that this will empower you and your team, and let this add new strength and energy to your entire team. So wish you all a wonderful week ahead. And if you have any questions about the sales closing, on the Facebook page of Indus Viva FAQs, you can definitely post webinar 5 post. You can definitely shoot your questions. I would be glad to answer all your questions. See you next time with another wonderful topic to help you to go faster in your Viva business. Take care. This is Prem Kumar signing off, Indus Viva Health Sciences Executive Blue Diamond. Thank you very much.